5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 우후.
That feeling of just knowing a game is right for you when you first lay eyes on it is such a great feeling.
The thing that happens is you start to feel the excitement just build up.
I'm thinking about it all the time, even in my sleep.
Incluso a veces por una misma comunidad. Te llegas a enamorar bastantísimo.
I play video games because I love stories.
Experiencing worlds that you can't experience as yourself.
I guess video games allow me to be what I can't. It's fiction, but it's not.
You come home, log onto your PC, and disappear into a different world.
I am a part of something bigger, a part of something beautiful.
As an autistic person, video games give me a place where I could be in a world that made sense to me.
Well, I will tell you that all of my family play video games.
Me and my brothers, we would share the computer 1 hour at a time.
저는 제 와이프랑 게임을 가장 많이 해요.
I'm really enjoying playing video games with my dad.
My children.
My little sister. That connection between video games, allowing us to converse with each other, added a lot to our relationship.
Games like the World of Warcraft let me meet people that I probably never would have.
I can honestly say I met some of my best friends through playing games.
We have this connection that allows us to share our joys, to share our achievements, to share our growth together.
Every time I'm able to achieve something, I'm able to make myself proud.
Killing heroic Blackhand back in Warlords of Draenor was one of my favorite memories.
I managed to find that one hidden pylon with my one Mutalisk.
We beat hardcore Inferno Diablo.
I was able to hit gold in competitive in Overwatch.
I had someone say, oh, I can't lose to a girl. And I beat that guy.
So I was able to slay this warlock as a little gnome holy priest, freaking out and screaming the whole time.
Adrenaline through my body was going crazy.
Pela caminhada ter sido tão prazerosa e pela conquista ter vindo.
A gente se sentiu muito, caramba, a gente conseguiu algo incrível aqui.
I killed the Lich King! I killed the Lich King!
然后夺冠的时候，现场的女性工作人员，包括有些男的工作人员，他们都哭了。
Many years ago, I was doing a quest in Terracar Forest, and a lovely little mage came up and said, "Would you like a hand?" They helped me for the rest of the day. We've been married now for over a decade.
Those video games filled a void. They filled the friendships that I didn't have. There isn't a huge LGBTQIA+ community in my city. So when I was able to play a video game, I was able to start talking to
PC.
people who didn't really care that I was a gay male.
But video games were my escape. When I was a teenager, my dad was diagnosed with ALS, and I looked to video games as a way to escape from that sort of reality. Everything happens for a reason, and I'm just glad video games were there for me.
I'll never stop playing video games.
There's no way.
I imagine myself one day being an 80-year-old grandpa gamer.
Playing video games has shaped me. I don't think I would be who I am today.
My passion, my interest, my excitement, they belong.
Video games opened for me the world.
And because of that, I'm forever thankful.
And I can't wait to see what the next generation holds.
아, 근데 좀 한국인 인터뷰가 너무 좀 적은 것 같은데? 크랭크 두 분밖에 안 나와. 아, 이제 불자가 그래도 영상 하나 잘 만든다.
To BlizzCon Line, a celebration of 30 years of Blizzard communities and 30 years of Blizzard games. 30 years is so many years, and last year maybe felt like one of the longest of all. But throughout the years of Blizzard Entertainment, from 1991 to today, many of us can associate certain games with milestones in our lives. Maybe you were a little kid the first time you played The Lost Vikings, or in high school when you first played a Diablo game. Or maybe you met your partner while you were playing World of Warcraft. That's the awesome thing about video games. They give us experiences that are relevant to the times in our lives and experiences that we carry forward with us. Games are here for us during good times, and they're here for us even when we feel alone or maybe uncertain. Games are coming home.
여기 이제 좀
Familiar
로고도 이제 무지개 색깔로 했네.
with a connection and a sense of belonging. And while many of us spent most of 2020 in our actual real-life homes, games became even more of a place to get away, to be free from outside concerns, even if just for a little while. So, this is pretty weird. Usually, when we start BlizzCon, the opening call is to my favorite Warcraft faction, the Alliance. Or my favorite faction, the Horde. I get confused. Usually, I'd be speaking to 40,000 of you in person at the Anaheim Convention Center and millions of you around the world. And usually, that would be a perfect way to celebrate. But nothing about the last year has been usual. The pandemic has been hard on everyone, and for many different reasons. But if there's one thing that the last year has taught us, it's that being apart physically doesn't stop us from moving forward. It doesn't stop us from connecting with our player friends around the world, diving in as warriors and heroes, and checking on each other as humans. It doesn't stop us from sharing our latest epic gaming story or celebrating those of others. Games continue to unite us. Now, to be honest,
방송대목 2020이라
I wasn't sure how well
2021이시.
work from home. There are thousands of people all needing to work together in creating our universes, games, and experiences. Never has it felt more true that it takes a Blizzard to make a Blizzard game. And in 2020, it became clear that the magic of creating a Blizzard isn't just tied to a physical location. It's tied to the people who work here, and I continue to be so proud of each and every one of them. Thank you, Blizzard. We create these games and pour all of our energy and heart into them. But it is you, the Blizzard community, that brings them to life. And that's why BlizzConline is a celebration of you, the guild leaders, healers, DPS, tanks, innkeepers, Zerg, Terran, Protoss, Blackwatch, Shimada, the heroes of Sanctuary and of the Storm. These next few days are for you, our Blizzard community. For World of Warcraft, we'll be showing you what's next for both Shadowlands and Classic. I'm sure you're all burning in anticipation for that one. Hearthstone is getting back to its roots in a major way. We can't wait to show you how. We also have news for our Diablo community. Some of you were able to dip your toes into the depths of hell in the Diablo Immortal Technical Alpha. I really enjoyed seeing players embrace the multiplayer aspect of meeting in town. We can't wait for more of you to get your hands on it. So, it's only the beginning of the year, and already there is so much to look forward to, even though we can't yet be together in person. The Overwatch League will be kicking things off in spring, and we'll be watching closely to see if the San Francisco Shock can continue their championship run. World of Warcraft esports is back with the Arena World Championship and Mythic Dungeon International already in full swing in Shadowlands. StarCraft 2 and Warcraft 3 esports are going strong with our friends at the ESL Pro Tour. And qualifiers are already underway for the first online stop of the 2021 Hearthstone Masters Tour, with the first event taking place next month. But before we get too far ahead, let's take a look one last time to when times were a little simpler. In the early 1990s, the internet was a baby. CD sales had finally eclipsed cassette tapes. Cassette tape, it's a rectangle piece of plastic, and there's a tape inside, and music would get recorded on, and sometimes you needed to...
야, 이제 이거를 모르는 사람들이 설명해주고 있어.
Crazy. We were all playing video games on Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, DOS, or Mac PCs. I personally was a master of config sys and auto-exec bat. So many simple things in simple times. If only we could relive them.
The stage is set. The green flag drops. Let the carnage begin. Holy Toledo! What a collection! Now we're talking. What a play! Crank up the volume! Unbelievable! Whoa!
스위치 나오네.
The Blizzard Arcade Collection, featuring the Lost Vikings, Rock and Roll Racing, and Blackthorn. These are ports of the games just as you remember them, allowing you to relive the original experience of all three titles in 13 different languages, with a couple of quality of life upgrades. As an example, we include very modern, cutting-edge functionality that wasn't available in the early 90s, both saving and loading of games. And for those of you who purchased any Blizzard Digital Anniversary Bundle via Battle.net, you'll automatically receive the Blizzard Arcade Collection on PC today. Now,
아, 그 기념 번들 사면은 저 게임 준다는 건가?
next for World of Warcraft.
솔직히 돈 주고 팔 건 아니지 않나?
Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. No matter where you are, World of Warcraft unites us all. Whether you're exploring the Shadowlands, classic Azeroth, or another part of the Blizzard universe, I'm glad you could make it, because we've got a lot of good stuff to show you. But first, let's start with some Covenant Pride. Tyrion, take flight! Night Fae, let the hunt begin. Necrolords, to war! Vintha, let's party! The world has thrown a lot at us since the last BlizzCon, and the thing that's really kept everyone going on the WoW team has been connecting with all of you. The bonds we forge with our guilds and family and friends in WoW are powerful and real. As WoW enters its 16th year and Blizzard celebrates its 30th anniversary, we're so grateful to have the most dedicated and friendly communities in gaming. Let's recap the events in Azeroth. In WoW Classic, we fought an endless battle for South Shore and Tauren Mill. We banded together to open the gates of Ahn'Qiraj and joined forces to take down Kel'Thuzad in his floating citadel of Naxxramas. Shadowlands, we helped our covenant recover from the anima drought, brought on by Sire Denathrius, master of the Vinthier and traitor to the pantheon of death. We survived the halls of Torghast and crafted legendary gear in our efforts to expel Denathrius from his castle lair. But innocent souls are still wrongfully being sent to the Maw. They face an eternity of torment, and heroes like Anduin remain chained in its depths. The jailer continues to grow in power. He's preparing to break free from the Maw and complete his plan to unmake the entire Warcraft universe. And Sylvanas, you may be wondering what she's been up to all this time. Today, we're excited to unveil our first major content update for Shadowlands, Chains of Domination.
주위를 둘러봐라. 너도 그자가 휘두르는 한낱 무기가 아니라고 확신할 수 있나?
그만! 우리의 대의에 함께하거나 강제로 따르게 되거나.
지금은 네가 모든 힘을 쥐고 있으니 선택해라, 실바나스 윈드러너.
온갖 노력에도 불구하고 나락은 계속 강대해지고 있습니다. 데나트리우스의 만행을 돌이킬 수 없다면요, 시초자는 사라졌고 승천의 보루만으로 어둠 땅을 구할 수 없습니다.
모두 일어나선 안 될 일이었거늘.
어쩌면 겨울 여왕께서.
집정관님, 살아있는 영혼이 아련을 요청해 왔습니다. 필멸자가? 왕입니다. 어느 모로구나 한평생을 바쳐 정의를 위해 싸운 자로 보인다.
웃어라 웃어.
백성을 위해서라면 무엇이든 희생하는 자입니다.
좌서 웃어.
정의롭고 참된 영혼입니다. 알겠다. 허락하노라. 가까이 오거라. 승천자로부터 얘긴 들었다. 네가 바로 나락에 갇혀있던 왕이로구나.
그 감옥도 절 영영 가둘 수는 없습니다.
왜 승천의 보루에 온 것이지?
당신이 가진 열쇠가 필요하니까.
너는
버서스 닮아가는 것 같은데 이제?
당장 그 영혼을 풀어주지 못할까?
아니, 이자는 내가
속박한다. 네가 한때 네 형제를 구속하려 들었다. 바로 그 방식으로.
홀 succeeding your father.
그릇이 제 몫을 훌륭히 해내었구나. 세계의 열쇠가 남아있다. 곧 모두가 알게 되리라. 죽음을 사슬로 묶어둘 수 없다는 것을.
뭐지 이거? 이거 약간 아서스랑 겹치게 일부러 연출한 것 같은데?
You probably have a lot of questions about what you just saw and what it means for the next stage of your Shadowlands journey. Later today, my teammates Ian and Jeremy will be telling you more about Chains of Domination in our Shadowlands update. Please check out the World of Warcraft channel to
find out more. Next, I'm excited to share our upcoming World of Warcraft charity
커맨더루드님
pet
어서
program.
오세요.
We've heard a lot from our community about how much they love these pets and the opportunity to give to a good cause, along with ideas to make the program even better. So during this upcoming campaign, you'll be able to donate whatever amount you wish to directly support our chosen charity. Once donations reach our goal, everyone playing World of Warcraft will get a pet for their collection as a thank you, whether you were able to contribute personally or not. And to make this a fun challenge, if we reach a stretch goal, everyone gets a second pet too.
아니 무슨
Here they are.
무슨 현지를 이렇게 만들어?
Pet is Bananas. Literally. He was originally available to a select few back in Burning Crusade era, so we're excited to give everyone a chance to adopt him. And if we reach our stretch goal, you'll also get Daisy the Sloth. She's an all-new pet who'll hang around your neck when you need a hug. Your donations during this campaign will go to support the medical humanitarian organization Doctors Without Borders, also known by their French name, Médecins Sans Frontières, or MSF. They're an amazing group doing important work around the world. We're grateful to have such a generous community, and we hope you'll help support this worthy cause. We'll be sharing the details about the charity pet program on the World of Warcraft website soon.
아니 기부를 하면은 햄은 주는 거겠지?
Classic players, now it's your turn. It's my pleasure to hand off to my teammate, Holly Longdale. She's a longtime WoW player, a veteran MMO developer, and she's going to tell us what's in store for WoW Classic.
Hi, everybody. First, I'd like to thank all of you who have ever been part of the WoW community over the years. You know, online worlds like WoW have been a huge part of our lives for decades now. As a dedicated MMO fan and a developer myself, I remember hearing that Blizzard was going to be making their own MMO. And I thought, well, I guess I'll check out that beta. And sure, we all call the game WoW. But really, wow. I could not believe I got bit by the MMO bug again. I was so excited to be able to make a night elf hunter and be like that famous dark elf ranger from the books that I loved. I have to tell you, Azeroth was, and still is, a place I love to live. Since last year, I've had the great honor to work alongside the WoW Classic team to bring these nostalgic experiences back to life for longtime fans and a whole new generation of players. As a fan myself, I've had so much fun in WoW. From the simple things like drive-by buffing or making friends on that long haul from Teldrassil to Ironforge, all the way to the absolutely staggering, like when I jumped blindly through the dark portal and was running through Hellfire Peninsula, heard this terrifying noise, and then saw the Fell Reaver. Biggest roamer I had ever seen, and I was very glad I had feigned death in that moment. And that's the thing about WoW. These stories and experiences we all share keep us coming back time after time. With that said, I'm super excited to be able to share with you where our adventures are taking us next.
감히 나의 영역을 침범하다니. 부순다. 몽둥이 너희를 파멸로 이끌었노라. 내 피를 빨다가 사내나 들려라.
침입자들에게 죽음을.
세상을 거꾸로 뒤집어주마.
너희는 아직 준비가 안 됐다.
Brings back so many memories, right? Like exploring the fungal forests of Zangarmarsh, or being awestruck at the chaotic magic alive in Netherstorm.
이제 불타는 성전이 이제 올라왔구나.
The Blood Elves in Silvermoon. I love playing them both. Do you choose to enlist the Aldor or the Scryers in your quest to fight the Legion? And of course, we can't forget gathering all your friends to fight Illidan at the top of the Black Temple. I can't wait to relive it all with you. Since the team first set out on their own quest to bring the original WoW back to life, we have learned a ton about what players are expecting from this kind of experience. We've also learned when to keep things just as they were and where we all might be open to some changes. We're bringing all these lessons into Burning Crusade Classic, with our primary goal to bring back the same feeling you had when you faced the Fel Reaver for the first time, or when you were digging through piles of Felhound poop. Of course, we can't get this right without you, our incredible community. Soon, you'll be able to revisit Outland yourself when beta starts and tell us what you think. Later, all WoW Classic players are going to be presented with a meaningful choice for each one of your beloved characters. Do you want to move on into Burning Crusade Classic? Or do you want to stay in the original Classic era forever? Whatever you decide, you can do it all with your one WoW subscription. Now, I know I've thrown a lot at you, but don't worry. We'll be getting into the details in our panel later today. So stick with us. We'll make sure you are prepared. And now we're going to hear what's coming up in Hearthstone.
Greetings. We're truly excited to share with you everything that's coming to Hearthstone this year. But first, let's take a quick look back at the year of the Phoenix. We added our first new class, the Demon Hunter, and ventured into the ruthless Outlands. Then we went to Skullman's Academy and got to explore dual class cards and their powerful
커뮤니티
synergy.
쇼케이스님 어서 오세요.
And with our third expansion of the year, we brought you Hearthstone's biggest update ever, alongside the menacing old gods in Madness at the Dark Moon Fair. We launched a brand new game mode, Duels, that saw more than 10 million matches on its first day. We also introduced our long-awaited achievement system and made a significant overhaul to the rewards and progression within the game. Now, it's time to say farewell to the Year of the Phoenix and see what's in store for Hearthstone this year. Welcome to the Year of the Griffin. Over the last couple of years, we've made big changes to Hearthstone. Throughout the Year of the Griffin, we want to keep delivering fun, new experiences and make sure that the tens of millions of you playing Hearthstone are always excited to log in. First up, we'll be giving the standard format its biggest shake-up ever, with the launch of the Core Set later this year. The Core Set replaces the old Basic and Classic sets with a collection of 235 cards made up of some of the best from throughout the years, as well as 29 awesome brand new cards. And the best thing about the Core Set is that it's entirely free. So, there's never been a better time to get into Hearthstone. Here are 3 of Hearthstone's legendary dragons, reimagined to feel more up-to-date and competitive for modern-day Hearthstone. Ysera the Dreamer,
you'll finally receive her full arsenal of dream cards right away. She's a nightmare for your opponents. Malagos the Spellweaver. He'll fill your hand with spells and is a powerful late game play, worthy of the aspect of magic. And finally, everyone's favorite black dragon, Deathwing. He's still as destructive as ever, but timed correctly, he won't leave you empty-handed. We'll also be launching a brand new format, Classic, where you can play Hearthstone as it was when it first launched. The Classic format will be fully supported, complete with ranks and rewards using Hearthstone's original set of cards. So, if you want to relive the old school experience, then Classic is the place for you. With Classic revisiting the past, now let's take a look to the future and explore the first expansion of the year of the Griffin.
호드의 영웅이 걷는 모든 길은 십자로로 통한다네. 모험을 찾아 이 땅에 왔겠지만 불모의 땅은 자네를 시험하려 들 걸세. 도끼는 날카로워야 하고 두뇌는 명석해야 하고 마음은 굳건해야 하네. 마음속 깊이 새겨두게라.
아, 이게 현장이었으면 막 소리 질렀을 텐데.
We're headed to one of Warcraft's most iconic locales, the Barrens, and we'll come face to face with the heroes that inhabit it. Starting with one of the Horde's most iconic and well-known characters, a fierce loyalist, one-time war chief that embodies the honor, loyalty, and spirituality of the Horde. Shadowhunter Vol'jin. Shadowhunter Vol'jin is a neutral legendary that allows you to either bolster your own board or weaken that of your opponents. And to celebrate the announcement of Forged in the Barrens, this card is available for free for everyone later today. So log into Hearthstone and claim your free copy of Shadowhunter Vol'jin. And as a bonus, we're also giving away the brand new 30 years of Blizzard card back. Next, we have another hero of the Horde who is making his first appearance in Hearthstone. The legendary Blade Master Samuro, featuring the new keyword Frenzy. Frenzy activates the first time a minion takes damage and survives. In Samuro's case, this can be used to clear your opponent's board. Heroes of the Horde, like Samuro, are famous for their combat prowess, but others, like Thrall, are known for their powerful elemental magic. Take a look at this new shaman spell, Chain Lightning. Chain Lightning is a spell in a new cycle of cards that rank up and become more powerful when you have 5 and 10 mana, ensuring that they're always useful at every stage in the game. You'll also notice that they're categorized as nature spells. With Forged in the Barrens, we'll be permanently introducing spell schools across the entire game, which enables a whole host of exciting new strategies. And don't worry, members of the Alliance will be featuring some of your most beloved heroes and locales later this year. But what I love most about the Warcraft universe is its amazing characters. And our final announcement is our most ambitious addition to Hearthstone yet. It introduces a brand new way to play with your favorite heroes. Hearthstone Mercenaries. Mercenaries features strategic RPG gameplay, where you build teams consisting of some of the most iconic heroes and villains from the Warcraft universe, including timeless characters like the infamous Sylvanas Windrunner, and Ragnaros, the elemental lord of fire. You can also expect to see some of Hearthstone's fan favorites, like the unstoppable Devilsaur, King Crush, and the ever-growing Gruul the Dragon Slayer. You'll lead them in battle through highly replayable roguelike missions, where the map is randomly generated every time you play, and each node represents a unique challenge for your team to take on. Your heroes gain levels, new abilities, equipment, and can even evolve into more powerful versions of themselves. We're thrilled to finally show you Hearthstone Mercenaries. It is scheduled to launch later this year, and we'll have more to share with you down the road. Everything you've seen today is just a taste of what's coming in the Year of the Griffin. So don't forget to tune in to our deep dive panel after the opening ceremony, where we'll share more details on the core set, the new classic format, Forged in the Barrens, and our plans for Battlegrounds and Duels, as well as our upcoming single-player content. I want to thank the team for their amazing work. And on behalf of all of us at Hearthstone, we want to thank the many millions of you who play our game. Your dedication and support is what drives us to make awesome updates and pursue ambitious and fun ideas. We can't wait to kick off the Year of the Griffin with all of you, and we hope to see you in the game soon. Next up, you'll get an update
오, 얘 디아블로다.
Diablo.
디아블로야.
Hey everyone, thank you very much for joining us. I am so excited to kick off the Diablo segment of our show, and I am honored to be here on behalf of all of our Diablo teams to share the news and updates we have in store for you today. We've got a lot of Diablo to cover, and I hope you'll agree with me that it's a great time to be a member of this community. All right, let's kick things off with Diablo 4. We first shared our game with you during BlizzCon of 2019, and we've been truly humbled by your response. We've kept in touch through quarterly updates and sincerely appreciate the thoughts and valuable feedback you've provided as we unveil more and more of the game and share in its development. After all, Diablo belongs to you as much as it belongs to us. Most recently, we teased an update to our campfire screen, and savvy fans, of course, understood that we meant more than just the character lighting and fire visual effects. That's right. Today, we're happy to announce a brave new soul joining the Barbarian, the Sorcerer, and the Druid on this dangerous journey back to Sanctuary. A class is one of the most exciting things you can announce in a Diablo game. This one is especially exciting to me as it's a re-envisioning of one of the best classes to ever appear in the series. Let's have a look.
이곳엔 무슨 일인가? 지금은 내가 이건을
고해의 시간이지 않습니까? 저는 죄를 지었습니다. 전 도둑이랍니다. 가진 자들의 것을 훔쳤죠. 고귀한 빛에서 벗어나 어둠 속에서 제 적성을 찾았습니다. 다들 살인이라고 다 부르더군요. 제겐 단지 임무 완수일 뿐입니다. 전도둑이고 이단자이며 살인자랍니다. 심. 아카라트께서 용서하실까요?
빛을 모욕하는군. 허나 그 괴물들은 우리 신도들을 위협하는 재앙이었지. 그리고 자네가 그네들의 기도에 답해 주었고.
그럼 정리됐네요. 빚을 갚으셔야죠.
자네가 찾는 이름은 자네를 보낸 천상의 감사다.
천상? 절 보낸 건요, 신부님. 천상이 아닙니다.
오독이네? 도적 로그. 이게 겁나인데 지금 이거 몇 개야 이거? 로그구나 로그. 디아 1 때 로그. 로그.
Even seeing them come back as NPCs and mercenaries in Diablo 2's Rogue Encampment served as a great bridge between the games. With the setting of Diablo 4 being a larger world than we've ever played in before, we're excited to show you not just what the successors to the original rogues in the series have been up to since the fall of their order, but also what some of the other rogues in the world of Sanctuary might look like. The mantra for Diablo 4 has been customization first, and the rogue takes this to a whole new level. From the beginning, the rogue has been an incredibly flexible class, able to adapt to any situation. Our goal is to let you create the kind of rogue that you want to play. Whether it's an unrivaled archer modeled after the original Sisterhood, or a cloak and dagger rogue from the darkest alleys of Chaldeum, in Diablo 4, you will have the freedom to create the rogue that you imagine by customizing the looks, the background, and the playstyle of your character. Please stick around for our segment later today, where I'll be joined by other members of the Diablo 4 team to share a closer look at the rogue class, as well as some of the open-world gameplay that we're bringing to the game. Spoilers, those severed ears are not just for show. But Diablo 4 is not the only Diablo game we're talking about today. If you're looking for an authentic Diablo experience on mobile, we've got you covered. Diablo Immortal has everything you'd expect from a AAA action RPG. From the visceral combat and epic loot to an all-new story, bridging the gap between the events of Diablo 2 and Diablo 3. Later today, you can join the Immortal team, where they'll talk about some of the things they've learned from their recent alpha test and what's next for the game. But that's still not all. We have one last bit of very exciting Diablo news to cover. When you hear us talk about the classes, the items, or the stories of the early Diablo games, you may have picked up on the absolute reverent tone we reserve for that golden era of Diablo. Maybe you share that love of the classics, and just hearing us talk about them makes you want to take on Mephisto
야, 되게
one
올게 왔다.
more time. Or
왔다.
maybe even for the first time. After all, some of our favorite moments happened a long time ago, and not just in Sanctuary years. If so, we have a special surprise for you today.
야,
Let's check.
연재했으면. 야.
Now you know what I seek, Mark. Are these the demons from my do it seems, but I'm not exempt of a destiny. Arise, Diablo, Lord of Terror.
우와.
Though this be our darkest hour, it may yet be your greatest moment.
알파 참가? 알파 참가 무조건 해야 되겠다.
After more than 20 years, the Dark Wanderer has returned. And once again, he travels east. Always east. Diablo 2 is a landmark game for Blizzard. Diablo 2 Resurrected is a full HD remaster of both the original game and the expansion, Lord of Destruction. It takes the 2D sprite-based classic that we love and brings it into the present in 3D, utilizing up-to-date graphical rendering and lighting technologies. It also includes modernizing all 27 minutes of cinematics, recreated shot for shot with the explicit intention of preserving both the look and the pacing of the original movies. Blizzard has a long history of games that we're proud of. And when we think about Diablo 2, we think about it as a definitive pillar in our foundation. Now, it's funny to think that some of you weren't even born when D2 was released, which makes it all the more important that we deliver an authentic experience wherever you play. We want everyone to relive their memories or experience the game for the very first time on their platform of choice. And so we're excited to bring Diablo 2 Resurrected to PC and console, along with cross-progression. And for those of you who are in love with the original and you just wish it worked more seamlessly on modern computers, you can bring back all of that nostalgia exactly as you remember and enjoy the game in its original 2D form, much like we did with StarCraft Remastered. Obviously, there's a lot to talk about. Later today, Diablo speedrunner Mr. Llama will host a roundtable with members of the development team on the dedicated Diablo channel. If you are a Diablo 2 fan, I encourage you to take a look. So, from Diablo 2 Resurrected, to Burning Crusade Classic, to the Blizzard Arcade Collection, it's a whole lot of looking back. And while we have teams dedicated
to bringing these timeless experiences into your hands, it's actually a very small percentage of our developers working on these projects. Far more people are working on the future of Blizzard. And in addition to what we'll be talking about during the show, we can't wait to tell you even more about our plans over the course of this year and beyond. If you had asked us 30 years ago what gaming would look like today, none of us could have predicted the current Blizzard lineup of games. The advances in technology are one thing, but it's really what those advances have enabled that's even more incredible. If you think about the people who play games and the communities that have grown up around them, the way people can connect instantly, no matter
소리가 작다고?
where they are in the world. The
소리가
way
작다고요?
people are increasingly able to
잠깐만요.
express their identity and celebrate who they are.
지금 어때요? 지금
through their
소리.
favorite games, communities, and platforms. The explosion
키워드렸는데?
like streaming, cosplay, and esports. It would have been hard to imagine any of that 30 years
왜
ago.
그러지?
And at Blizzard, that is what excites us about the next 30 years. There is so much that we're working on.
작을 리가 없는데? 이 정도면 꽤 클 텐데?
The rest,
본인 스피커로 한번
we look
올려봐요.
forward to
본인
talking
스피커.
to you about it when the time is right. Just like the real world, the worlds of Warcraft, Diablo, StarCraft, Heroes of the Storm, Overwatch, and Hearthstone are diverse, expansive, and full of potential. We are not only iterating on the experiences.
아, 일부러 목소리를 많이 키웠는데 오히려 더
We're also
불편하시겠어.
exploring different ways to express our worlds and welcome more players from more places into them. And we aspire to continue to lead on priorities like accessibility and toxicity control.
일부러 그렇지. 목소리가 하도 안 들려가지고.
That have a positive impact on the real world. We want to continue to bring those same feelings of joy and achievement that we all felt when we first defeated the Lich King or beat Diablo on hardcore mode. Because when we geek out on those experiences with others, we can't help but see the similarities between us and feel what's possible when we play together. Of course, there are new Blizzard worlds that we haven't visited quite yet. And when we do finally unveil those games and experiences, our hope is that you will see in them what we do. That no matter who you are or where you're from, they are spaces where you can create new stories, forge new friendships, and make memories worthy of lasting a lifetime. And through it all, our mission statement of being dedicated to creating the most epic entertainment experiences ever, along with our core values, led by gameplay first, will continue to guide our way. So on behalf of everyone at Blizzard, thank you for being on this journey. For me personally, it is the honor of my professional life to serve you, and the honor of all of us at Blizzard to be the caretakers of the worlds that you play in. We are so excited for what's to come this year, next year, and the next 30 years. Now, what's coming next for the show? Well, it depends on where you watch. For those of you looking for an update on Overwatch, check out the behind-the-scenes look into the development of Overwatch 2 over on their dedicated channel right after the conclusion of opening ceremonies. There, you'll hear about Overwatch 2, new content, new features, including new maps, hero missions, talent trees, and more of what we think will make Overwatch 2 a unique
아니
game.
근데 이제 메인 무대가 끝나가지고 어딜 가야 되는데 어딜 가야 되는데.
Diablo and Hearthstone,
노노자리님
you'll get
어서
a
오세요.
closer look on their respective channels. And on the dedicated strategy channel, some StarCraft legends will be going head-to-head in epic competition. Once again, welcome to BlizzCon Line.
아니
Be
스타2랑
good to one another.
히오스는 아예 죽어가지고 뭐 발표도 없네?
Before we kick things off, here's a little something from a previous BlizzCon headliner.
Hey, thanks for having us. We're Metallica. Thanks for having us at BlizzCon 2014.
Metallica?
We would love to be there this year, but obviously can't be. So here we are, and this is for you.
컨트는 좋았어도 그래도 좀 컨트를 하나 낸다는 거야. 스타트도 마찬가지야. 저기 슈퍼보면 이게 지금 코로나 때문에 그렇고 이렇게 즐기는 좋은 기분이야. 하는 이유가 유튜브들마다 준비 시간 필요해가지고 그냥 하고 있어. 장면이 바뀌어서 그런가? 아 이게 왜냐면 메탈리카가 워터풀을 써가지고 그런 거야. 그래도 메탈리카 정도는 이게 좀 무대도 있고 또한 잘 있어가지고 블리즈컨 원래 4만 명 들어간다는데 우리 계란이 같은 경우에는 돈을 시키는 게 좀 그러게요. 올해 블리즈컨은 안 통하는 키워드가 추억인 것 같아요. 추억팔이. 또 게임 회사들이 망하면 이제 추억팔이를 하는데 뭘 합니다. 그러니까 망게임 회사들이 보통은 추억팔이를 하는데 아니 그래도 저는 개인적으로 디아포 리마스터라든가 괜찮았어요. 그 디아포 도덕도 나쁘지 않은 거. 근데 아니 스타도 발표가 없고 오버워치도 발표가 없고 키오스는 뭐 죽었는데 뭐 장례식이라도 해줘야 되는데 네, 이렇게 해서 메탈리카. 아, 하스스톤은 그 내용 굉장히 많았거든요. 하스스톤 메모를 해놨어요. 오버워치 2보다 오버워치 클래식이 먼저 나올 때. 지금 이제 보기 시작하신 분들은 제가 이제 조금 알려드리면은, 둘다가 심지어 이제 91년도에 오락실 게임을 만들었던 회사거든요. 지금 나오는 이 로스트 발키 이런 게임, 그러니까 옛날 아케이드 게임 모음집도 뭐 출시를 한다고 하고, 이제 하스 좋아하시는 분들은 새 직업으로 악마 사냥꾼 나온다고 합니다. 네, 그리고 유명한 용은 이제 데스윅, 이세라, 말리오스 이 세 마리 용 추가되고, 볼친, 사무로 추가되고, 또 이제 모험모드 하스스톤의 용병단 이런 것도 나오고, 저기 그 확장팩 하나 새로 나왔어요. 이 정도로 정리가 될 것 같고, 자, 그러면 이제 하나씩 넘어가서 제가 제일 재밌을 것 같은데 넘어갈게요. 디아2가 깜짝 놀랐어요. 3D로 바뀌어가지고. 좋네. 디아2는 아니, 근데 또 지금 믿으면 안 돼요. 깜퍼지드 골 날까봐 나는 기다려봐야 되는 것 같아요. 그래서 이제 아까 여기 이제 메인 채널에서 다 봤었는데, 메인 채널 끝나고 부스별로 이제 넘어가야 돼요. 그래서 부스별로 뭘 하나.
Welcome everyone to our deep dive panel for WoW Classic. I'd like to start with some introductions with these fine gentlemen with me and myself. I'm Holly Longdale. I'm the principal producer for WoW Classic. A little bit about my background. I spent 13 years working on EverQuest. I started as a game designer and eventually became the head of the studio for the EverQuest franchise. That said, I've always been a WoW player since beta. So this is obviously a dream come true for me, and I'm thrilled to be here with you.
와우 클래식 핫팩?
Patrick Dawson.
네, 왔어요.
I'm the production director for World of Warcraft. I've been at Blizzard for 15 years now. And have been on WoW for most of that time.
와우? 하스스톤?
This story is all about going back to the roots of Warcraft. It's a little bit different in terms of how we deliver the story though. Rather than a specific year-long narrative, we're telling small stories about individual characters that make up a bigger whole. So there's 10 brand new characters and they're going to be featuring across all of our game modes. We'll obviously be telling their story through single player, which we'll be telling a little bit more about later in the show also.
디아블로도 좀 봅시다.
Have really enjoyed that. Today, to mark the special occasion of BlizzCon Line on Blizzard's 30th anniversary, rather than doing a blog, we're actually going to share lots of video, introduce a new class like we saw in opening ceremonies, and also cover some open world topics, including mounts, camps, and PvP.
Yeah, this is like the ultimate blog post, right? We get to actually hand deliver it. This is the dream. It's all finally out there, and we can talk about all of it.
Just in case some of you guys missed it during opening ceremony, let's take another look at the Rogue Announce video.
여기로 오길 잘했다. 비디오 가야지. 이거 아까 전 번 건데 혹시 못 보신 분 있을까봐 한 번 더 틀어드릴게요.
There is justice within the light, but you have to be patient. Now, pray with me. May Akarat guide and protect me.
May Akarat guide and protect me.
May he shepherd my soul.
May he shepherd my soul.
하스, 맞다. 하스도 클래식 나왔어.
And granted mercy.
What are you doing here? This is not the time.
But this is confession. And I have sinned. I was a thief who stole from those more fortunate. I strayed from your light and found my trade in the shadows.
그걸 깜빡했다. 메모에 적어놨는데 슬래식 모드 생긴다고. 하스도 이제 맨 처음에 출시했을 때 그 모드가 나오고 야생 나와가지고 막 하스 유저들 난리 났었잖아요. 그 전에 그 전으로 돌아가신 분.
I am a thief.
아 이제 하스도 근데 이제 좀 몇 년 되지 않았나 그래도?
A murderer, father.
하스도 한 7년 되지 않았나 이제?
Save me.
You mock our light. But those monsters were a scourge upon my
7년 반이나 됐어요?
and you. You were the answer.
신경보 트로일러? 아니야 근데 원래 불자는 이렇게 내왔었던 걸로 기억해요.
The name you see is.
하긴 뭐 또
Thank the heavens for you.
Heavens? I assure you, father, the heavens didn't send me.
거기서 이제 또 하나 추가되면 이제 5가지 지각이 들어있죠? 그리고 이제 한창백 같은 거 내면서 막 7명까지 늘릴 것 같은데 아닌데 지금 3명 지금 이 신직업이 이하 1에 로그라고 하네요. 로그 직업 이하 1은 로그 중에 한 명이 있고 디아2에서 블러드 레이븐이라고 왜 에코 보스로 나오는 친구가 이제 로그에 소속되어 있죠. 조작단. 디아블로 커뮤니티에서는 아마존 나오지 않을까 했는데 아마존 느낌이 나는 버전이 나왔어요. 디아블로에 뭐 뭔 내용이 나오는지도 기억이 안 나네.
Wow, I love that ending.
까도 돼요.
There's two things.
얘들은 좀
There's
까줘야 돼요.
the
까야지
rain of
정신
arrows
차려요.
off the mount for the win, and then when that guy takes the ear and he stretches it onto
근데 여기 아저씨가
that hook right at the end,
친구님이
it's like, oh.
That earbox never gets old. You know, I always wonder where all those ears from Diablo 2 when you kill other players went.
오버워치 한번 보죠. 오버워치.
Healing that kicks in after they haven't taken damage for a while, very similar to Mercy's passive, but a little bit of a lower rate.
One of the more shocking changes that we've been exploring in Overwatch 2 PvP is a change to the tank role entirely. That's applied to all of the tanks. We want to try to make them more toe-to-toe brawlers and less characters that just stand back and protect other people.
So, for example, for Reinhardt, we've given him 2 charges of Fire Strike, so he can throw Fire Strikes a lot more aggressively and more often. Also, his charge, he's able to cancel it now, and you can steer it more aggressively, so you can, you know, not quite turn a corner, but you can definitely more accurately pin targets. And because you can cancel it, it allows you to use it much more aggressively and, you know, really go after those key targets without feeling like you're going to sacrifice, you know, all of your positioning, everything to get there. He's almost more terrifying now with his be able to unleash his full arsenal more often than kind of just being the guy with a shield.
The changes to Reinhardt that we're trying, and they might not shift, that's just the reality, but the changes that we're trying right now are to try to embrace more of that instinct that players have when they want to play a big burly character that looks aggressive and feels like it should be aggressive.
Shortly after BlizzCon, we spun up this group, our combat field group, to really just work on what happens when a player holds the trigger.
We're putting a ton of effort into looking at all of our characters and trying to give them even a more visceral weapon feel.
From sound to VFX to animation to the design of these units, all new sounds for a lot of our weapons in the game, and a whole new sound system that's driving it. And we didn't just level up a unit, we leveled up the rest of the game.
When we first started working on Overwatch, we spent quite a bit of time working on gunfire sounds and just general combat feel to make it feel really awesome. We're revisiting pretty much everything. Nothing's off the table, so we're looking at even kind of small things such as quick melee attacks that every hero has. So they have kind of new audio pass and a new kind of feel and visual effect when you hit things.
One of the bigger efforts we're undertaking for Overwatch 2 is what we're calling our Weapon 2.0 Sound Pass. What this is a big overhaul to the weapon systems in the game. That means the way the gun feels in your hands. You could feel the ammo running out as you're getting lower on the clip. We've really tried to amplify those sounds to better encapsulate the gameplay and the gunplay that comes with Overwatch 2. Another key to the weapons was getting them to feel like they're in the environment. This meant working with convolution reverb. It's a new system that we've implemented into Overwatch. It's a way that we can capture the acoustics of an environment and transport it onto the sounds that we're using. So we went and captured tales of guns in different environments through our weapon shoots.
진짜 총 쏘는 거였어, 소리?
And then we've cut them and applied it so that we can support a lot more environments. Now we're supporting outdoor, urban outdoor, warehouse tales, tight tunnels, small rooms, and it gives a lot more presence to the weapons and the way that they react in the world.
The shooter genre has evolved a lot since Overwatch 1 came out. On top of that, I think we really want to push the visceral nature of how we do combat. So we focused a lot, not just on the wonderful sound effects, but also with how the gun moves as you shoot. So you can really feel every single shot leaving the chamber. And there's a lot of subtle little tweaks we have to do on the gameplay engineering side to make that feel really visceral. Everything from making sure that the camera shakes are crisp, making sure that if you get shot, you know exactly these tight indicators show up on the outside of your reticle. All these things play into making the game feel not just tight and responsive, but also modern and up to date. Take 76, for example. What we wanted to do in Overwatch 2 with his weapon was make it really feel incredibly powerful, and that happens with a bunch of different elements that mix together. But it really feels like the gun is almost just outside of your control. A lot of that comes down to this camera shake technology, where every time you fire the weapon, you want to feel like it's running through your entire body, and the camera shake gives that extra bite to every single shot out of the chamber. It makes him feel really great.
You guys got a sneak peek of Sojourn from last BlizzCon. She's been under development for quite a while, and she's actually quickly at this point become a lot of people's favorites in-house. When we look back at Overwatch when it was originally created, there was a lot of heroes that were made from a gameplay standpoint kind of surrounding a weapon type. For example, Pharah was based on a rocket launcher hero. Widowmaker is clearly like kind of a sniper. We thought there was a weapon that was kind of missing that would be a lot of fun to play with, and that's a railgun. It's so much fun in the playtest to have this really powerful shot that can rip through enemies if you really are accurate with it. And she's all about that aim skill. So if you got that aim skill, you'll love her.
We're still exploring new game modes, and we're also reevaluating older game modes that people are more critical of. You know, we're of the mindset maybe 2CP doesn't exist in Overwatch 2, and maybe there's a new cool game mode that replaces it. We really want Overwatch 2 to feel like the next evolution, a true sequel to the first game, not an add-on. It's not a small part, it's not an extension of the original game. This is an evolution and a replacement to the original game, and I think it's exciting. Hero missions are probably one of the things that's the hardest to wrap your head around if you've never played one of them.
The goal around hero missions is for these to be this co-op PvE experience.
I personally only play competitive mode. Like, I'm all about that competition. And I have friends that they don't want to do that at all. So I'm really looking forward to a game that I can play hours and hours with my friends who aren't in competitive, and it's also something that I'm interested in.
Hero missions are the content that people are playing as they are leveling up their heroes. And so for a system like this to really sing, you need a lot of missions. We don't want players to feel like they're just in this grind to get to the top.
And there's a lot of really, really good back-end technology that we're exploring so that the heroes are constantly bringing their personality and some light story to these hero missions as well.
The goal is to make as many as possible, hundreds of hero missions. We've explored a lot of different ways of getting to that much content. Still have like different sets of enemy units that people will be fighting against, and there's different hero mission types. At the same time, hero missions can take place in all of the multiplayer maps that we've done, and we're also adding new spaces onto some of these maps.
It's a huge challenge for the art team. We take maps that a lot of people love and recognize, and we have to add a lot more art and level design to it.
In this one hero mission playtest, we came up to an area in King's Row that usually has a gate on it. Suddenly that gate opened and I saw a new area of King's Row that I had never seen before.
You may be playing a payload game type, and the payload may decide to take this new route instead of going the usual route.
That was really, really cool. It was like this eye-opening special moment.
Lan, our lead tech artist on the environment side, very early on her own free time, made a prototype of a sandstorm on the Temple of Anubis map.
And at the time, we didn't know what we wanted to do with that, but it looked awesome.
We looked at it and went, oh my God, we absolutely have to do this.
So we put some new technology in place that allows us to do this dynamically. Start the mission off, clear day. Midway through the mission, suddenly this sandstorm or heavy weather would show up.
It made the world just feel so much more alive.
There's a sunset, daytime, nighttime, but depending on where you are in the world, these look different. California or Hollywood would have what we call a California sun. In New Bonnie, there's a great African sun that happens there. You start to get a sense of space and mood. This is what really brings the levels to life.
For me, the dynamic world's exciting. Just seeing these dramatic landscapes, the wind and the atmosphere blowing by. It's a much more cinematic experience for the player.
Before you start a mission, you look at a map. It's nighttime in Necropolis, or there's a sandstorm in Necropolis. Players can make some comp choices based on knowing this information. Characters like Hanzo or Widowmaker start to be a little more valuable because they have abilities that allow them to see through the sand more clearly.
Are we going to talk about any of the types of objectives in hero missions?
Yeah, let's talk about the objectives. Players are being asked to do different things from one hero mission to the next so that they all feel really fresh to the player.
For example, we have Gun Return, where I tried to go and grab these different canisters to kind of safeguard them so they don't go off and affect the population in a negative way. It creates this really cool tension in the world where on the one hand you're trying to split up and go grab all these canisters to be as efficient as possible, but at the same time now you're having these sort of special enemy units spawn that are really difficult, and if you kind of get caught by yourself, it turns into a pretty bad situation really quickly, and it feels extremely cooperative and like a very different way to interact with the Overwatch universe.
We're experimenting with all sorts of ideas, and just internally we have names like Wall of Death, Scavenger Hunt, and Kill Quest, and all these new mechanics and enemies for people to experience. Players will be able to jump in night after night, play different hero missions, and then work through the progression system, leveling up their heroes.
At BlizzCon in 2019, we started to talk about progression, and we showed the very early version of our talent system, which I think was really cool. We had that one talent where like Meg became the rolling snowball, which was a big hit. We've really blown that system out.
I'm really excited about talents. You can play the same hero in so many different ways. Now with a skill tree, you can have fun every night doing different things and kind of experimenting.
Yeah, the talent system is like really deep and rich, and every single hero has different trees. You might open up 76's tree, and as you're leveling and picking new talents, you're starting to feel your hero change. We've had some pretty hilarious versions of the healing one where his biotic field travels with him. It also repulses enemies. We called it the snowplow build, where 76 is like running through spaces, pushing enemies away from them.
Designing these is super fun because it's like we get to break all the rules that we've sort of established for ourselves, and we get to really take the gloves off and do crazy things. Like Junkrat can dual-wield grenade launchers, and we've had Mercy be able to area effect res their whole team at once at super long range through walls. It's been a ton of fun, kind of like mad scientists making all this stuff.
You're all used to using these kind of kinetic weapons like Soldier 76's rifle or fire attack, like what Reinhardt's Flamestrike does. As soon as you start to mutate these things with talents, all of a sudden maybe you're doing freeze damage or electrical damage. But it gives the animators a bunch of crazy opportunities. You know, the animations are going to change to show them freezing and shattering. And if you shock someone with a lightning attack, they can shake in place and stun, maybe chain to other enemies. All sorts of stuff to make you feel like you're controlling the battlefield in novel ways.
As a huge RPG nerd myself, the first time I opened up the talent tree systems, it was like, oh my gosh, this is speaking my love language. Like, I just want to plan and I want to see, like, where do I want to invest and how am I going to play this character?
Yes, it's so great. And you start at the bottom of the tree. Like,
yes,
oh my,
exactly.
Like, Tracer gets to do what? Yeah. And then you start working and kind of planning how you're going to get down there. It's like, oh, it's so fun.
When we look back at BlizzCon 2019 and we talk about some of the criticisms that we had, one of them as a development team that we felt was that the combat was just not engaging enough. So the fact that our combat wasn't highly engaging to us as players meant that we had a problem with the enemy units and that they just weren't feeling interesting enough.
Just because we show something to the public, it doesn't mean that that is what it's going to be. If we make discoveries where things aren't working how we want, they're not reading how we want, they're not fun enough, we're totally down to reinvestigate, reiterate, and just really find ways to level kind of all aspects of things until they feel good.
I would say a major focus of all of 2020 was to make the null sector enemy units more engaging. And some of this was adding new units and evolving other units that we had.
Interesting combat for us is varied combat for us. So sometimes we're going to ask you to protect something in Overwatch 2. Sometimes we're just going to ask you to get someplace. Sometimes we might ask you to escort something across a map while it's being attacked. And so it's a different type of spawning, and it's a different type of units that are in there, and it's a simpler objective.
There's a lot of units Aaron is talking about. Lots of different units, lots of different types. They serve different purposes. You do different things to them. It's really going to help a lot of us find the fun and make sure that Overwatch 2 is a blast.
One of those sets of enemies is what we internally call objective units. And they're typically units that don't even attack players. The simplest version would be something like the Breacher.
It's two legs with this huge bomb on its back. It was built to do one thing: slowly and methodically march towards its objective, and then it transforms, and the bomb opens up like a flower. It starts spinning and charging up, and you hear this awesome sound, and you know you have a little bit of time before it's going to explode, and you have to take it out.
We have units like the slicers, which you guys have seen before. They're little, we call them the chickens. They're little chicken snares. They run really fast. You know, we have a guy we're experimenting with right now who flies and drops these bombs that create these kind of ever-expanding smoke fields that you have to escape from, but because they're super deadly. So you really get to use your mobility options to kind of escape that.
There's things like the Polar. You could be moving through these darker alleys, and as soon as you hear that Polar spawn, it suddenly becomes like really spooky and kind of scary.
This very tall, elegant-looking character that's blindfolded, 3 orbs that circle around her as her eyes, and we basically spun those orbs around her head as a big tell, launched them at the player, and then it activates this tractor beam, and it's bringing you in, and then you get this awesome like anticipation of the hair opening up so you know what's about to happen.
One thing we've just recently been experimenting with is this idea of elite units. We didn't want the elite units to feel like they're just, oh, this guy's got double health and double damage. We want to make sure the elite units feel like they have different behaviors and have different attacks. So, for example, an Omnic Grunt, normally he fires his gun, he dies pretty simply. If you fight elite grunts, his weapon fires in a burst fire pattern. It's very deadly if you're close. And if you manage to take them out, they don't just die right away. They instead can crawl on the ground towards you, and you try to back away. If they get to you, they can explode.
Artillery at BlizzCon, we're all just staring at this, and we're like, what are we going to do to level this up?
One of the things we really felt wasn't coming through was the damage states. We intend for players to shoot these guns off, but currently it's not reading as something that can happen in the game easily.
We changed the design, we changed the animation, and we go back and forth and just continually iterate.
We decided, hey, you know what? We're gonna just delete half of these damage states, so now it's super readable.
From an animation standpoint, we decided on the spinning barrel version. Just did this really nice kickback. The tip of the barrel opens up when it's about to fire and shifts into place and boom!
Really amazing to be fighting an artillery unit and you see the guns on the side, and as you're shooting the guns, they're actually visibly taking damage, and then you can blow them off and it reacts and kind of stumbles to the side, and really makes you feel like you're there, and it's super fun.
In a lot of the stuff we've showed so far, you're fighting null sector. These are evil killing machines intent on marching you down. The way you're going to stop them is by shooting them, and we want to make sure that feels responsive and visceral. Really making sure that when they take a hit, it feels like their whole body has been punched, almost like hit by a truck. That's what really sells this fantasy that you're playing these superheroes. One of the cool pieces of technology that we created was what we call chain hit reactions. Oftentimes you'll find null sector bunched up, marching maybe a half a dozen units abreast. You expect if you shoot one, they're gonna knock into their buddies. So we make that happen. Turns out it's really fun too.
아니 그러니까 이런데 지금 신경 쓸 때가 아닌데 지금.
One of the things that we showed last year at BlizzCon was the new looks for our heroes. The theory kind of going in was like, you want to preserve the essence of your hero, but also kind of show that that heroes evolved and kind of changed and moved forward. So we have a lot more new looks. So I'm excited to see how players and fans react to all of the ones that we've done so far.
Maybe we'll share some of those
아니
new
양반들
looks
저기 한국 PC방
today,
한번
which would be
와가지고
cool.
저기 어떻게
We're
돌아가는지
going to reveal
봐야 돼 지금.
McCree's new look for Overwatch 2 as well as Pharah. And we're really excited to show off some of our first villains with Reaper and Widowmaker. But first I wanted to talk a little bit about technical wear, kind of like technical clothing. What that really is using very techie fabrics, as well as having very intricate but functional straps designed in a way that it's very aesthetically pleasing. With McCree, we took a couple different approaches. He's got this classic cowboy look that it's really hard to mess with, because if you try to make him too sophisticated or too techie, it might not feel right for the character. But as a concept artist, you always want to change things around and try different shapes and silhouettes. So we did identify Red Serape as the main thing for McCree. We also tried a couple different things with McCree's cowboy hat. We didn't really want to mess with that too much because that's a very iconic part of him. So that's another piece that we kept. We tried some retro cowboy looks that mixed in some tech here and there. Some that were a little bit more techie than others, some that were a little bit more classic cowboy. We gave him a little bit of a longer beard, and it really gives him a nice kind of like a more aged look. What's different about Pharah than some of our other heroes is Pharah's completely covered in armor. We didn't want to change her silhouette too much. It was more about experimenting on different colors. So it felt really appropriate for her to be the one to harken back to those original Overwatch colors of white and blue. One of the things that we wanted to update on Pharah was her visor. Instead of being completely opaque and reflective, we tried a little bit more of a transparent approach, and being able to see through it a little bit now allows us to see some more of her emotions. Reaper was actually the ones I was very excited to work on, because I could see a lot of potential in how we can integrate his cloak and his cowl and his armor, and how we can make all those shapes really sing within that classic, Reaper silhouette. We tried a couple takes with the first pass, like completely silver arms, more layers to his jacket. Reaper's mask is obviously pretty sacred to us, but the thing you'll notice immediately is that it's now completely silver. Instead of bone white, he's got this like almost like deadly edgy silver that just gives him that classic Reaper look. With Widowmaker, we started with the idea stage, exploring a breadth of ideas. We tried things like a more insectoid approach, treasure hunter. One of them made her feel like a classic Bond villain, so we kind of steered it back towards one of the more cyberpunk looking ones, almost like a futuristic Femme Fatale, which is
그
basically what
기본
Widowmaker is, but
저기
she even
오버워치
feels more
1의
upgraded.
스킬도
So I'm super glad that we went down this route. We played with different hairstyles too. Widowmaker has a
뭐
really
이런 거
long
나쁘지 않고 하나씩
ponytail
올라가는
that's
거야.
really
근데
key
이제
part of her look. And really liked the hairstyle on one of the designs that was more braid, and it was really interesting look that also preserves Widowmaker's original silhouette with that long ponytail.
We've been working a lot with our domino engine and making our cloth look better. Now that we have this cloth tech, we're going to be able to make some really cool, unique silhouettes that will help them stand out from other heroes. We put a lot of time and effort into our face rig, and what I mean by that is we're going to be able to get really close to these characters, and it's going to feel really cool. It is absolutely worth the time and the effort to invest in the technology, and that way we can make these characters do more things that we haven't really been able to do before.
It's been super exciting working on the new looks for Overwatch 2, and it's just been so inspiring to watch the team try things that we've never tried before, and I just can't wait to show off more in the future.
Overwatch 2 is probably the largest opportunity we've had since the inception of the franchise to really expand what Overwatch even means to our players. In 0 Hour, we saw that some of the heroes got back together, but we're also seeing that there seems to be a second huge Omnic uprising. We're going to learn who's behind that uprising, why that's happening, how globally spread is it.
The story and franchise development group, they were really the torchbearers of what the big story is that we were going to tell for this game.
We have a lot of interaction with them. They're working on in-game cinematic intros and outros for every one of our story missions.
It's been really great to see this collaboration grow and develop. The story is just a little more integrated into our missions than it ever really has been before. All the available heroes get dialogue for a given mission. We have NPCs, we have multiple hero choices.
We have all sorts of events that are happening that are driving players to interact with each other or parts of the environment or other characters.
The world of Overwatch is this bright, shiny future. So how do you take that bright, shiny future and create conflict in it? How dark can the world of Overwatch go?
The different challenges that these characters are going to have to overcome in Overwatch 2 are things that they haven't ever dealt with before or dealt with on this scale. So what we had to do was literally strip it down to this bare bones of where are these characters in their lives. Overwatch has been disbanded, and now there's a situation where the world's in trouble again, and the world needs the heroes again, but they're not allowed to be doing what they were supposed to be doing.
We started to book these off-site locations so we could brainstorm over and over different versions of what the Overwatch 2 story campaign could be.
And we basically had these whiteboards that we were carting around everywhere.
The room was filled with whiteboards, and we would just write every day story beats with the characters and who was doing what and where. And oh my gosh, we forgot this character.
We had these giant sticky notes, and each one of them would be a mission with a bunch of notes on it. You know, somebody say, well, what if we moved Rio to the end, and they'd physically grab it off the wall and stick it on the end.
And we did this for a while, you know, until we all felt that it was pretty close to what we wanted.
Then we could send it to our writers' rooms. The writers' rooms then had a much clearer direction of where we wanted the process to go.
Ultimately, we come up with something that we think is right for the game, and then we pitch it back to the game team, and they point out everything that we missed.
And that allows us to actually back up and go and make it right and make it better.
Because the scale of this story is so huge, it takes place over the whole world, basically. It just requires a constant iteration, constant refinement to make the story as best as we can make it.
From writing, we go to storyboards. The storyboards get crafted with the edit. From there, it'll go to a previs department where they'll start to flesh it out in 3D. Once they've kind of figured out our camera work and our cinematography, that'll then go to the animation department. And then we end up going right into the game engine.
One of our challenges was to figure out how to integrate this story and this narrative with the gameplay.
So if the intro cinematic ends with this huge battle, this huge war, when you get into the game, it has to mesh and feel the exact same way and blend together.
We're really also trying to get the music to be equally as consistent from in-game cinematics straight through to the mission. Adam Burgess, our lead composer, has been working with the IGC team, with the game team, developing
친구
themes
예전에는 막
for
컷신이 막
all the
별로
heroes, all of the locations.
콘티를
As
보여주면서
the
컷신이
cinematic
들어가면은
director, whatever we're
나쁘진 않을 것
crafting
같은데 아니
should
근데
never
지금
override the
PVP를
gameplay. We want to make sure
살려놓고
that the player's experience going from the
PV도
cinematic
같이
to the
가야지.
gameplay is seamless and it feels like a completely immersive experience.
The engineers, we have to find a way to actually make that come to fruition. The choreo tool is a tool that allows people to coordinate different events to happen at the same time. Like in Rio, if you played our demo, one of the buildings explodes. And so that kind of event needs to happen as you're running by, and you need to have it timed, because if it blows up too early, then you don't see it. It allows story moments in missions that interact with the environment, that interact with our characters.
The new tech, the new abilities that we have now are allowing us to push our storytelling farther than we could have previously.
What's also really powerful about choreo is that, you know, if somebody has an idea, they can mock things up really quickly.
We got to show the Widowmaker making this awesome introduction. And Casey was able to quickly put a really rough prototype in choreo. And Philip would come in and on the fly, he's making quick changes. They play tested something that would normally take weeks. It was done in like a matter of days.
Each story mission has its own custom map built for it. And these maps are absolutely gigantic.
India is one of our biggest maps, and it's a fun map because it has a few story beats that we've taken from recent comics and characters in the game.
We've written a history for each city so that the cities feel lived in. And I think that informs the artists so that they know like what it is that the city has been through.
Gothenburg was our chance to show Torbjorn's workshop. We created a space that kind of fits his height, so there's step ladders and scalable tables. We designed the space as if we were Torbjorn. Molten steel is pouring out of walls. It's pretty epic when you walk into it. Toronto was under siege by Null Sector when the players arrived here. There's a dynamic snowstorm. So as you make your way through the level, the snow is slowly building up. Suddenly by the end, the characters are caught in this gigantic snowstorm and they must fight their way through.
In Overwatch 2, we want to give you choice to be able to play this character or that character. So we're designing a lot of systems around how their relationships develop over the course of the story missions in the campaign.
We have a cast of many characters, all on screen, all at the same time, and it's fantastic to actually see them all interacting and working together in ways that we've never actually seen. We've always thought about it and hoped for it, but now it's actually happening.
It actually requires us to have a whole new branching dialogue system. If you happen to have Genji and Mercy in the second mission of the game, you might get different dialogue that's about their relationship.
Our voice actors bring the characters to life in ways that everybody has fallen in love with, from inside Blizzard to the fans. Just to hear this collection of actors all together, all interacting, has been a real treat.
I wish people could see how many people are involved when it comes to something like telling the story of Overwatch. It doesn't just come from a singular person. It comes from a group, and it's a really talented, fun group that all works together.
We've been developing what we hope is one of the best stories ever. There's some key story moments that I'm really excited about, and I really can't wait to see how people react to it.
아니 그러니까 뭐랄까 뮬란도 리메이크판이 더 엉망됐잖아요 지금.
We've been talking about the game, about this universe. I know you all love it so much.
Right now, we can sit down and have a night of Overwatch 2 and have it be a really fun experience. And I think we need some more time till we can say it's perfectly polished in the way that we want it.
We've made such incredible strides since we first announced this and showed it to the community at BlizzCon in 2019.
The thing that I'm most excited about is that moment when we hand the game over to the players.
We want to create something that really moves people, really touches people.
That's why we do it. We create the game because we want it to become part of your life and for you to experience it.
For Overwatch 2, we're upping the bar.
It's kind of 5 games in one. It's a huge undertaking.
The new tech and the new aesthetics for the new looks bring you closer to the characters that you love, and we're just getting started.
The fidelity of the gameplay experience is much richer.
We are making cinematics that push the boundary of what we can do to tell stories.
We want this dynamic world. We want things to feel alive.
I'm really looking forward to being able to expand the world of Overwatch for players.
We're really trying to tell this epic story.
In order to make a game great, it takes time, energy, collaboration.
We have just an incredibly professional team of designers and artists and engineers.
We just love bringing this world to you guys. So many cool characters. It's just a blast working on it.
Our goal is for Overwatch 2 to be the worthy successor to the first game, to be the next evolution, and to be a true sequel. Big plans.
Thank you for sticking with us.
We're going to cross the finish line, and I know it's going to be awesome.
I hope people just end up loving playing it over and over.
That's what we want to try and capture. I'm jumping in, I'm playing, let's go be heroes.
아, 진짜 PC 잘 만든 캐릭터는 아나라고 생각해. 아나가 진짜 잘 만든 캐릭터인 것 같아. 아나, 그러니까 할머니 캐릭터가 게임판에 별로 없는데 아나를 되게 잘 만든 것 같아. 이번에 이제 블리즈컨 스킨이죠. 라인하르트가 스타의 레이너가 됩니다.
Dolby is the proud partner of BlizzCon Line. Watch Shock vs. the World in Dolby Vision and Dolby Atmos, only in the Dolby Access app.
이거 좀 이따가 이제 성우분들이
Coca-Cola,
이제 나오겠네요.
the official refreshment of BlizzCon Line.
사운드 트랙 제작하자. 요시 10%.
Who's ready for some fireworks? You'll like this one.
Greetings. Our fates are entwined.
올라가게 지금.
Rally at my position. I feel unstoppable.
The best gets better. Let me show you how it's done.
야, 한국 스킬이에요, 이게 씨. 호랑이 사는.
Turning up the heat. I'm ready. Give me your best shot.
새해 복 많이 받으세요.
아니 저거는 중국 맵인데 설날 이벤트를 한국도 같이 해요.
You can't catch me.
I've got you in my sights.
오늘 아침에 보니까 이거 갑자기 디바 한국을 막 풀고 블리자드 코리아는 또 이거 한국 회사인가.
I've still got it.
뭐 우리도 저기 뭘 바꿀까? 양력으로 음력하니까 뭐 중국 애들이 다 자기 거라고 하는데 어떻게 그래가지고 잠깐 여기는 쉬는 시간인 것 같으니까 딴 부스로 가봅시다. 이게 원래는 현장이었으면 걸어서 가는 거예요. 걸어서 부스를. 자 근데 코로나라서 지금 그 히우스가 여기 막혀있죠. 히우스가 지금.
He'll be able to, right? That's a lot of lings. He has a couple cleans. The spines are going to finish. I don't think Effort can get him.
그래서 없습니다. 여기 막혀
This is
있는데.
a great block up here. Anything to buy a little bit of time. Now keep in mind, our Terran in the blue is not out of the game just yet. If he can get a few more mules down, make a few more SCDs, he might be able to squeeze through. But over here at Nesty's base, these roaches coming through here, taking the queen out.
히우스는 뭐 죽은 거 알아서 없는 거 같고.
To kind of delve into
디아블로가 이제
Yeah, you're actually part of the technical alpha, right? You had a chance to play.
Yeah, I played I think over 100 hours. I was grinding, yeah. Burning the thumbs and the screen, it was fun. It was a lot of grinding, but I had a good time with it.
I know some people kind of picked a class and went really deep, and some people played a breadth, kind of played them all. What was your experience like?
Yeah, I went through and I played all the classes, all the way to max level, even grinded out a little bit of Paragon in each of them. But I think my favorite was Wizard. I spent the most time on Wizard. What was your guys' favorite class?
So my favorite class is the Monk. I love the mobility. I like just getting in and out and like destroying whole packs of mobs together. That feels really good, but I think like in terms of fantasy fulfillment, my favorite would have to be the Barbarian. I just love that it's like the meat and potatoes, pop demons with my axes feeling, and so sort of like nothing takes that place in my heart. So my answer is cheating. It's two.
Every time we do a playtest of some kind, I like to play a different class. So this time around, it was time for some Barbarian love. And I played Barbarian up to max and played some Paragon after that. Had a good time with it. I love some of the legendary items on the Barbarian. I got, there's one sweet legendary I found that it was every time you use Hammer of the Ancients, it would summon an ancient to fight alongside you. And then I got another legendary item that gave Hammer of the Ancients 2 charges, so I could actually like double up on those, and that was super fun.
Yeah, I had a Twister legendary that turned into a giant tornado, and that was really cool. I was just running through the Elder Rifts, gathering up all the mobs, and then just using this big tornado. It's like as big as the almost screen. It's a really awesome one. A lot of the abilities I noticed have like a dual purpose. Like with Monk, you can kick, and you can kick off the wall, and then with Wizard, you can place like an ice crystal, and then reflect the Ray of Frost off the crystal, and then you do this big AoE to all the enemies in the area. What was it like designing all that interaction that we don't have in other games?
When it comes to designing the skills for Diablo Immortal, we definitely want to make sure that we're bringing something new. You know, in a lot of ways, it's good when the classes feel familiar, and sometimes it fits like an old glove. People love to have the Barbarian, Whirlwind, and Whirlwind through enemies. It's such a classic. People would always want to look for that. It's also really important that we have new experiences, and I think things like the Ice Crystal and the kick that you mentioned are really important. You want some things that are new, some things that are improved over previous, and some things that are familiar and comfortable. And I think the right mix of all three when it comes to class skills is what lets us have, honoring the Diablo legacy while still pushing in new directions.
One thing I definitely want to dive into is the speed, like the progression speed. It really gives me like D3 vanilla vibes where legendaries aren't dropping left and right, and like everything you get, you're so grateful because you don't get that many items or like.
Flag, like if you don't pick captured flag and they do, then it's not called captured flag.
You'll be able to take all of your allies and take the fight directly back to it. We'll also be facing off against the creature that is the actual eye of the jailer and figure out really what is the jailer's eye here. Those of you that were fans of the lore of the Titan Keeper Odin might have some interest in that particular fight. The jailer's inner sanctum, naturally, is a place where some of the worst souls were sent for the jailer's personal torment. And we'll be seeing some of those souls here as well. Really looking forward to hearing who you think will show up in the jailer's personal torment sanctum. Of course, any raid that features minions, servants, and soldiers of the cold dark like this one is going to have to feature our old nemesis, Kel'Thuzad. And finally, the culmination of the raid. At long last, we will be taking the fight directly to Sylvanas Windrunner, the Banshee Queen herself. The finale of this fight is going to change the future of the Shadowlands. And we're not going to spoil that for you today. However, can't wait for you to see what happens at the end. But the Sanctum of Domination is not the only sanctum of the Jailer. We'll be seeing additional updates to Torghast, the Tower of the Damned, including the unlocking of brand new, never-before-seen wings. These wings have a brand new art kit, as well as new floors and new floor layouts.
Or just passing someone on the street and waving from a distance. It's sharing our hearts. And that's what I love about what we've created here. And every year we come back to it and add more people that we adore and say, welcome, it's nothing but joy. Welcome to our little world of yes.
I love that. So Darren, how have you been getting by? Like, do you get, I'm sure you get sad, but how do you just joy and gratitude and?
Yeah, we moved to a new house.
Congratulations.
It's like our first adult house ever. But we have an office and we record, and very, very lucky, knock on everything, work keeps going. and that keeps you going. A lot of our friends in the Broadway community have not been working. We lost someone from a show a long time ago yesterday. So we've been losing a lot of our people. And I think you go back to what brings you comfort, and it's spending Zoom calls with those people. It's listening to Leon Redbone and David Byrne and Buster Poindexter and going back to what I did in college when I had no friends. But it's that reaching for things. Did I play Diablo 3 a lot in the beginning? Yeah.
Yes.
Because that world was the world I liked to run around in and visit little shopkeepers that would go, I will survive if you buy something. And I never buy anything. So there's a little guilt there. But you know me, I'm just a big mouth student.
I love it. And I gotta give a shout out. Look at Darren, even in a pandemic, he's dressed just impeccably.
Always.
We found out they make
It's Photoshop.
It's Photoshop. Right? Actually, it's in his pajamas. We found out there's onesies that are suit onesies. You said?
Yeah, pajamas.
We need to get a Kickstarter and buy him a whole wardrobe of suit onesies. Yes.
Yay!
You'll look amazing. It's gonna be a Overwatch sleepover next time.
Yeah.
Yes.
You always have a bow tie on. Why did you pick the tie?
I changed it up.
Oh.
I had some bow ties earlier, and then I did ties and liked them. My sister has a store, and I call her. She's a high-end men's store, and I'll call her and I'll say, hey, I want this, and I order it, and that's my way of helping her out because business has been rough, and I'm like, give me this.
Is this in New York?
No, she moved to San Antonio, Texas, and she's been in Texas for a long time. My parents had moved. Those are sad stories that we do not want to get into about stuff. But it's still having that connection. Just, my father was a clothing designer, and the Reinhardt voice is kind of him. And
that's right.
So he would like it. He'd go, you look good.
You look amazing.
Yes.
You
But
always
those eyes are good on you as well.
It's so hard not to just bite your face and hug you. I just want to bite you so bad. All of
Many
you.
people say that.
Yes, it's true. Well, how's everybody else? How's everybody doing?
Doing all right.
Hanging in.
Yeah. Very, very lucky to be able to keep doing this. I've got a toddler. I've been quarantined with a toddler.
Zemo.
He's amazing. Yeah, my little guy, and he's in. And my wife and I have been having actually a really good time. I mean, it's a handful, but it's been so great to just be able to get out of the recording booth and then just play with him, as opposed to 2 hours of traffic. Not complaining about traffic, just saying it's really a blessing. I mean, I hate what's happening to the world, with the virus and the economic thing and just everything.
Optimizes and makes a bunch of early game units and hits one player, you're going to almost kill them before his teammates get there to help.
That's right. So we're seeing 2 gateways thrown down here from our Protoss. I guess I'll cross the map here. It looks like it's going to be Zerglings with speed immediately as well. This is among the most common Zerg openings in 2v2. Of course, Zerglings probably the best unit realistically in the game.
Yeah.
It's hard to tech up in any team game for the Zerg. The highest tech you tend to see is Mutalisks. And they usually stay on that for a long time. Right away is a very strong play for sure.
Oh yeah, he's going to be able to help his teammates as well as attack with these very, very quickly. And that is going to be important. Now, all 3 StarCraft 1 players really making a lot of units. Rain is going to Gateway Zilla. We have a barracks in a forward position. Adding some Marines in. Ooh, even picks off that making SCV, but also, of course, those speedlings, as you mentioned.
This barracks here is very important. It can help with the wall off, but it is there then denied. A probe, an SCV, Marines, and Zerglings putting pressure over here to our player. 12 o'clock, this Marine needs to get behind. And now a bunker's going to go down there. This is going to isolate the Zerg, and this could be a very scary moment here. MVP going to try to come in now and help defend.
Oh, but the Lings actually all die. Nesty losing a lot of his units before anything else is there to help. MVP bringing a lot of SCVs down. We also have a random Zealot mixed in here from MC that's worked his way up. And I guess they're going to be able to stop the bunker from going up at least, but he's lost a lot of his SCVs.
Yeah, this is a lot of damage to be taking right away. MVP going to pull away. Was this an overextension here from our blue team? It may be the case.
Ooh, some damage being dealt as well as effort runs around with some harassment. Last going to have to pull back with his Marines. MC giving chase. And we see Rain in the bottom right starting to tech up to those Dragoons he loves so much.
확실히 여기
Okay.
한국 저기 중계진이 게임을 좀 맛깔나게 중계하는 것
That's the
같아.
most
한국
important
사람이라서.
takeaway for now. But the counterplay here from the red team is very strong. The fact that there is this barracks out here for last in a far out location means that can be forced to lift, and therefore Marines can be denied from production.
Yeah, he's made a bunker, so he's going to try to protect himself with that. In the meantime, actually hunting down some of these Zerglings from Effort. Looks like MVP fielding quite a few Marines to go with the Zealots of MC.
And this is some pretty incredible pressure we're seeing. You saw MVP telling everybody, go bottom right, push now. And we're seeing that down here, there's not really that much to defend. I mean, the Zealots, if they're on the outside, they're going to be outnumbered. If they're behind the gateways, the gateway production is going to fall here. And really, you know, between a hard rock and a cliff, there's no good way to go about doing this, man. Both ways to handle this suck. And we're going to see MC in a very, very good spot here. Rush through the rest of these Zealots of Rain.
Well, just with those Marines pelting them from behind, you're going to kill the Zealots so
아니 나 한국 사람들 다 볼 것 같은데 외국 사람들은 이거
pylon goes down, so now the gate's unpowered. It looks like Team StarCraft 2 going to push forward into Rain's base.
Yeah, this is going to get pretty bad pretty quickly. And again, with the Marines here and Zealots and Lings to cover it, there's no real easy way here for Rain to try to defend. I love the Vulture coming down here, also doing damage to MC, but the real story is what's happening here at the bottom right side of the map.
Some great micro coming down. Effort getting his Speedlings on top of those Marines. Not going to be a lot of Marines left over, but 6 kills with that Vulture. Last getting a lot done with a little over here in MC's base.
8마리 이상 잡았다고.
And from now, with Rain, I mean, taking so much damage down there in the bottom right. He has workers, he can begin to recover, but it may be blow after blow after blow as this game continues on. You can see the rallying of units here in the red with their targets set on the weakest player, Rain, in the bottom right.
Yeah, but look at this, the Vultures joining in. These Vultures theoretically can kill everything with the right micro. So we'll see if Last can really be the hero of his team.
That's right. You know, the Vultures are very strong, but they're also very brittle units. They really are glass cannons. So if they're not controlled correctly, they can be killed by anything as well. But the gateway's up here being denied once more. And you see our red team diving on top of that pylon.
Ooh, yeah, they are going to unpower those gateways once again, but Effort bringing down a lot of Lings to help out this time. Looks like it will be a cleanup of these Zealots of MC.
Okay. The fight continues on down here. Sometimes it looks like one player could be getting beaten up, and that's going to cost him the game. Sometimes it's actually the opposite. The fact that you hung on, means your teammates can power up enough, they can really do damage. I love the Ling play here by Nesty. He's absolutely got the right idea. Attacking right where the Vultures come out and stopping them before they can get the numbers
Now look at this. He's actually sacrificing his Lings to stop the Spider Mine upgrade. What a nice move. Mines would
마인업을 지금 저지했다고
open for Team StarCraft 1, but Team StarCraft 2 looking pretty darn strong. Look at this, trying to hold on. They have this beautifully placed bunker. Nesty with the endless Ling flood, keeping everything out.
You're really seeing why Nesty was the MVP in 2 versus 2. Denying that upgrade and then denying the Vulture push at the top. 2 critical moments in this fight.
Absolutely the case. Now, Rain out on the map with some of his Dragoons, but looks like MC has more. Don't forget, MC is kind of out there on his own. He might be the player that they want to attack.
This is a crazy moment here in the middle of the map. Now, Dragoons beat Vultures. Now, Vulture might beat Dragoons, but Lings together with Vultures absolutely smashing Dragoons, and we're seeing why.
Yeah.
The add-on's going to be added back in here, so even though mines were denied, they're going to be a reality very soon.
I am feeling a little bit nervous here for Team StarCraft 2. They had a great opening, but now our StarCraft 1 players have map control. They're controlling that center, which means MC can't come up to help very quickly, right? He sees these units come up, he can send units out, but he's going to be late to the party.
Okay, a big push coming through here. There is a bunker. There are SCVs to help defend here, but this is a lot of units. The Lings have done their job. They've eaten the damage. The Vultures are going to spill through here now, and Nesty has nothing to defend that.
He lost all of his Lings trying to hold on there at the front. In the meantime, he is holding on with mass repair in the bunker, but a lot of drones falling for Nesty. He is down to 5 supply.
I don't see any workers on the screen right now. It's going to be a long climb to get back into this game. Obviously, Rain took a lot of damage early on, but that doesn't compare to the damage that Nesty just dealt with back there.
Well, he's at 0 supply, literally, with 97 minerals. So he can make, like, a drone to start coming back, but Nesty is effectively out of this game other than his overlords flying around.
And remember, you can't share resources in StarCraft 1, so if they dive in there again and kill the drone, he may be hard locked out of any economic play.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we see these Wraiths come in here and doing a lot of damage over here to Effort's workers. It's going to be some time, though, before they can fully kill everything off.
Yeah, they will be chased out by those Dragoons. In the meantime, MC going to be pushed down here from a three-way alliance. Terran and siege tanks covered by Zerglings and Dragoons. I've never seen something so scary.
And, you know, Dragoons are already pretty good if they slightly outnumber the Dragoon count, but with Vultures, tanks, and Zerglings here, this could be a fatal blow.
Yeah, the rates of MVP coming down, they seemed like a cool idea, but they are not going to help against this Dragoon count. Absolutely not. This is looking like it's just about over. Nesty has already died. MC is about out of here, and that leaves just poor MVP with his race. GG is called, and that will be that for the first 3 versus 3 of the day.
Can I tell you something, Artosis?
Yeah. Tell me something, Tasis.
3 versus 3 is pretty damn cool, actually.
Yeah.
That was a really hype game.
그러니까
It was honestly a little
와, 나 이거 완전
because there was so
예측 다
much
틀렸는데
action
이거?
happening back there, but you
스타
can see
얘 해설 같은 거 하면 절대 안
how
되겠다.
it can shift back and forth.
Oh,
between
yeah.
Somebody's defending. It looks like, oh, maybe they're gone, they're dead, but they hang on. They've got a little bit of workers. They start to come back. Maybe that other team overextends.
빨간색인데 벌처를 간게 너무 잘한 것 같아. 벌처를 가고
So important.
빨간색이 레이스를
That game was crazy.
Yeah, it was really well done as well, because the first player that really seemed to take a lot of damage was Rain in the bottom right. And, you know, they dived on him, they sent so many basic units in there, they definitely did some damage.
해야 되니까. 하스스톤 경기는 좀
It does, and it gives a little bit of positioning opportunity now that you've identified that.
Right, exactly. Oh, there's another crackling cyclone. And we can actually triple on it with the faceless, too.
That's huge.
And that actually just eliminates Lister right away.
PvP 아니네.
Love that. Big plays.
Boom.
이건 누구예요? 캐릭터 영웅? 이거 누구야?
We're just gonna roll for more
이거
big
나이트
stuff, I think.
Seems
Well, there's another
likely.
triple. Let's play
8명씩
this while we have. Now we play this.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Okay.
Well, that's 110, 108 party elemental.
That's pretty good.
Party is in fact started.
Another elemental. I love the greed, Kibler. You know, I was kind of thinking about poisonous, given how powerful the dragon stats are.
No. More stats.
More stats.
Elementals.
Yes.
I mean, the poisonous is actually better, but.
Yeah, but the thing is, the genie could give you anything. It could give you a third little rag to get you more stats.
It could be anything. It could be another little rag. Exactly.
Well, I
third little rag.
Yeah, I realize you're not on Tavern Tier 6, though, so.
Oh, yeah, it's true. I can't.
Okay,
so
well.
I actually want to lead with this for the Illustra.
오르나미시
This actually gets another hit on something else.
서백이네.
I like it.
You didn't have any like cleave type stuff. I think this is good. This is looking good.
It's looking good.
If you got a Nadina though, I could be in trouble if there's a Nadina.
Yes, that is true. So I guess only time will tell.
Real scary. He's level 5 though. He's tier 5. He can't actually just buy a Nadina. He'd have to triple.
To build upon, and with the updated rig we were able to go in and add new motion and life on top of this creature. We do this by a process called keyframe animation, which follows the rules set by traditional animation in the past. We're able to use 3D software to use the rig and model to bring personality and motion into the character. Animation is really drawn from inspiration from the real world. Watching creatures and animals, how they move, you pick up these little things you might not think of. So it's really important to study the movement of nature and other humans to really figure out how your animation might better sell the motion and the physics behind it. A lot of creatures and characters in World of Warcraft don't exist in the real world. For this situation, we like to film ourselves for reference. It helps us get in the mindset and feel the personality of the character or creature and really helps sell the motion that they might use.
So my first step as a sound designer is to look at the model, to look at the animations that the art team has already made, and get familiar with the personality of the creature, with the material types that they've used, how fast is it, how does it move, and then I can start putting together sounds that will help reinforce that. So what is it made out of? Well, in this case, we have, obviously it's a tree, so he's got his creaking wood elements, he's got his shaking leaves, but he's a creature that's sentient, he has a personality, so what would he sound like? What kind of vocalizations would he make?
Just basic walking animation.
So working with Glenn on the Ancient was awesome. Glenn has defined so much of the sound of Warcraft over the years, and he's already contributed his voice to helping to define what these creatures have sounded like in previous iterations. So knowing that we were going to make a newer version of it for this mount was a cool opportunity to have him.
A lot of adepts out on the map right now. Immortal production starting right now for MC as well.
게임 경기하는 거 말고는
get
또
something
없는
done.
것 같아.
I love the mobility of these adepts. Look at them go.
Okay, here we go. A lot of damage being done over here. Keep in mind these SCVs that are bunched up. If these Hellion shots can connect enough, that's going to wipe out all of those workers. Huge amount of damage over here to our blue Terran.
Oh man, this attack doing so much to last. He's trying to get out of there, losing just about every single SCV. He is not even mining at this point.
And that is the kind of damage we were talking about these players looking for. We've got an Oracle over here hitting MVP's SCVs, but keep in mind that MVP is going to be able to remake that because the Oracle has a limited amount of energy. It can't just keep dealing damage like we saw in Banshees, for instance, over here.
Oh man, the amount of damage being dealt is so much and so quickly. Last already having to vacate his main base. A ton of SCVs very badly hurt down there at 6 o'clock. Taking that damage. Roach is coming as well. There's just non-stop action everywhere.
So much more damage being dealt over here now to the Zerg in the bottom right, but the Roaches from that Zerg come in here now, killing off as many SCVs as can be. We do have, it looks like from MC, the Immortals now out in the game. He's going to have a very robust army that can take a lot of fights against basically anything, but here, there's so much damage happening all over the place, it's hard